like to call the Brimfield Township Board of Trustees meeting to order at 8 a.m. Roll call for attendance, please.
All those in attendance, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Mike is absent for business.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor.
Lord, we always want to be thankful for the many blessings in life, but where we know as difficult as it is, sometimes we have to be thankful for the challenging times. Someone once said that happiness would lose its meaning if it wasn't for sadness showing up from time to time. Lord, all these department heads work so hard. I know, Lord, they'd like things to run as smooth as they can. And Lord, just each day it seems like more challenges come, so we just pray that you give them the patience to endure. Just, Lord, the courage to maintain character as well. We thank you for that, Lord. We ask now you have your way in this meeting, Lord. Let everything that's said and done bring honor and glory to you. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
All right. Announcements and correspondences. Board members, any announcements or correspondences? I do not have any. Okay. Department heads? All right. We will now move into meeting guests. Anything to report from the public today? No? All right. Well, we're glad you're here. That was easy. Need that little Staples button. Minutes. All right, we have minutes, and I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from June 29th, which was a bid opening and a regular meeting, and minutes from the July 7th special meeting.
So moved.
I will second that.
Okay, all those in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda,
So moved.
and I will second for discussion. Any changes to this?
Bear with me 1 second on that ahead. So Craig, we're just going to accept Chris. Is that what we're going to do? Okay. All right. No. Okay. No, thanks. No.
Are you okay under station build, Craig, if I
Yes.
take part of that time to give an
Yes.
update?
I didn't know when you were going to do that.
Yeah, instead of putting it under admin, I'll just do it with
So
fire.
just leave it alone then.
Okay. Any other changes? All right, hearing none?
All those in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the purchase orders,
So moved.
and I will second.
All those in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Warrants, I'll entertain a motion to accept the warrants.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, last call for public comments or questions. All right, hearing none. Safety concerns. Are there any safety concerns for us to be aware of? All right, hearing none, we'll move into the business portion of our meeting. We're going to table the police department for right now. Chief is on personal leave right now, and Captain Atkins will be here shortly, but he had a previous meeting, so we'll just plug him in when he comes in.
Okay.
So Captain Atkins will give an update. So with that, we'll move to fire department. Craig, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, you'll see in front of you, I printed out a calls for service sheet. You guys can take a look at that on your own. Really, we need to talk about what you need to talk about, so we'll forego the couple things on the past week events and just let you know we did an active shooter tabletop training yesterday, combined with EMA, police department, and fire department here at the community center. It's about a 4-hour training. It was very informative. We're going to make one more step then to go into live scenarios in the high school at some point. So it was a very good training, just to let you know. And then really one of kind of the sad things here is I need board approval to accept the retirement of Lieutenant Chris Morrison of the fire department as of August 4th. Do you want to make a motion?
Would you like to make that motion, Sue?
Yes, I move that we accept Lieutenant Morrison's retirement.
I will second that for discussion.
Just go a little further. He's been full-time with us since 1997. He worked previous EMS jobs before that, so he's been doing EMS for 30 plus years, and he decided it was time, and he meets the qualifications to retire from us. And he's met with John on payouts and stuff like that. So we're handling that on the side. It'll come to you guys. He actually can retire August 1st, and that will be his last shift, and then it'll officially be done the 4th. So, like I said, he's a good guy, and we hate to lose him, but I understand that 30 years in this job, it'll be nice to go.
I think he's sufficient.
Right. So, which who knows? He's got all these other jobs lined up, but
Right.
I think it's one of those things he's not really sure what to go into next, but he'll figure it out. So, with that, just
Well, as a board member, I'd like to thank Lieutenant Chris Morrison for his years of service. Since 1997, that's a long time. He's been here in the township. He's been through many changes that we've had in our community, and we thank him for all his service and his dedication to our community.
All right, all those in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
John, do you want a copy of that letter then that he put forward to me?
Yeah, I'll just put it in his file. Yeah, just email it
To
over.
put it forward. Okay, I put it in his file, but I'll send you guys one. And then with that, I'll kind of forego my station stuff and let you kind of talk since we've all kind of jumped in together. But you can speak mainly of what's going on.
Sure. All right, so I'd like to give an update for the board to be aware of where we stand with the construction project. About 2 weeks ago, I called a meeting with Rycon Construction, Moody Nolan, and ourselves. And then I had a subsequent virtual meeting with both of them yesterday via telephone yesterday evening to get updates. At that meeting, the Rycon Construction submitted to us prime contract potential change orders. There are 4 of those change orders, and I just want to give everyone an update going one by one. Sue was in attendance at that meeting for the information gathering. And I've also talked to John about this. The first change order is PCPCO number 1. That is still a work in progress. This change order is asking for an additional $282,000 in change orders. Those change orders are based upon things that have already transpired prior to submittal. The reason that happened in that fashion is the Rycon change project managers about, a month ago, 2 months ago. Frank, the original project manager, is no longer with Rycon. There were some paperwork issues there, and Mario is the new project manager leading that. The bulk of that dollar amount they're asking for is related to days of not being able to work due to weather conditions because it was through the winter months. However, according to Moody Nolan and USDA, they have to provide documentation and supplemental documents to support why they couldn't work and if the weather conditions were such that work could not be done. They have not provided that documentation yet, so that's just an ask from them. It is not set in stone, and we're waiting to hear back. We don't think they'll get nearly as many days as they're asking for. It wasn't our fault that they did not come out and work in the cold weather. PCPCO number 2 has been removed, so there's no additional costs there. And then PCPCO number 3 was submitted, and that is a roofing concern. The roof design for our station requires a certain R value in order to get an occupancy. It's about energy efficiency. Because of all the garage bays that we have in those doors, well, you open those up and all the energy goes away. So the way you do that is you insulate the roof with thicker insulation and you make up the R value there. This was in the bid specs. There was this and a couple alternate material types in the bid specs that Rycon had agreed to. They started talking back in August of last year that they may not be able to get the boards that they needed for the roofing. And then in April came to us and said, hey, we can't get the roofing boards that we need, the insulation type. It has a 1 to 2 year lead time on it. So we proposed a different program, which costs $242,000 in increased costs. We said that's not acceptable. You need to go back to the drawing board. They never officially sent a change order. They finally came up with an alternate and submitted it to us just Friday at an additional cost of $110,000, so drastically reducing that ask. However, initial cursory reviews of that from Moody Nolan shows that it is actually one of the alternates that they had agreed to in the bid specs. Therefore, there should be no additional cost to us. that initial review. So we're waiting for Moody Nolan to give us a recommendation on number 3. The last one is PCPCO number 4, which is an ask for $227,000 in additional cost for a sprinkler system. The sprinkler system was in the original architectural designs. However, when the county did their review for sprinkler systems, they identified that our attic space is too large, and that attic space is now going to require additional sprinkling, so they want that put in. We have Moody Nolan is reviewing the engineering drawing of that. There's already been some discrepancies. They were considering the area over our garage bays as attic space when it's not, so that may reduce the amount of sprinkler system needed. So that one is still under review. So I say that just because we're 25% into the project. They've asked for $750,000 in additional funds. That's already been reduced by about $150,000 through our initial discussion. The way this project should work, just to keep the board and Craig aware of what the process should be, according to Moody Nolan moving forward, is RICON needs to identify these issues as our controlling contractor, and then they need to submit their requests to Moody Nolan. Moody Nolan will review those. Those requests have to be supported with supporting documentations, including tables of values, because we found in many of their requests that the subcontractor built in profit and overhead into their table, and then RICON submitted it with a 5% overhead and 5% profit. So they're double dipping on the overhead and profit, which they shouldn't be. So the tables of values will help us identify those issues moving forward, which will reduce that. That's a 10% cost increase on each piece that they submit. Once Moody Nolan reviews it and has identified enough supporting documentation, they'll go back and forth with RICON to get all the supporting docs. Then they will come to the Brimfield Township Board of Trustees with recommendations on what we accept, what we should accept, and what we should decline. We will then, as a board, decide that and meet with RICON to accept or decline their suggestions. That's when the official change order is generated. That change order then gets submitted with all the supporting documents to USDA, and USDA will review that again and determine if there's enough supporting documents and if we should accept those change orders or not. And then at that point, we'll officially sign the change order. RICON's been made aware of this. They thought things should move a little faster, but there is a process because we're dealing with the federal funds here. And that is a summarization of where we are with these contract updates.
That's very good.
The roofing, we should have an answer on pretty soon. I talked with Bob late last night. He is close to finishing that up because that is the next hurdle. Trusses are on site. We're ready to put those up. We don't want them to sit for too long because we don't want to cause warping. And they are able to get this alternate roofing material pretty quickly instead of the 1-year delay that they were talking about. So we should have an answer from Bob. We may have to call a special meeting to accept a change order if it is needed, just in the essence of keeping the project moving forward.
Good.
John, any questions?
Yeah, well, I have comments. Thank you guys for being the bulldogs over there and fighting with that. We do need that, and we all kind of just need to keep an eye open over there and make sure they're all following the guidelines that they're supposed to follow, or they're just gonna not follow. So, Craig, thanks for being involved in all that. Sue, thank you for attending those meetings over there. So, thank you. That's it.
All right. Anything I missed?
Just the only comment I would have to say back to the board is, to this day, I have not signed off on any documents, change orders.
Right.
So there is nothing that Brimfield Township has signed to agree to any of this.
Right. So these are all potential change orders, and this is typical. We'll see these throughout the project. The PCO number 1, I'm not surprised by because it's what's on paper compared to what they can do when they get in the field. They got to figure out some of those initial change orders. The other ones were kind of out in left field, we thought. So, also the weather, we have to still deal with the weather piece. So, all right, that's my update. Craig, where's back to you?
I don't have anything else.
All right. Any questions for the fire department at this time? All right. Hearing none, we'll move into administration. Sue, you have a Central Portage County Visitor Bureau's update.
You know, I'm on this board of the Portage County Central Visitors Bureau. And anyway, we have a monthly meeting, and I want to share this. Somewhere along the line, I have to have some fun doing this township work, and a lot of it falls within this committee. So what happens a bed tax is collected from everybody that stays at the hotels. And then that comes into our coffers, and then we give a portion of it to this Visitors Bureau for operation. And so we have here the Ohio Magazine, which goes all over, and it shows you all the places to go to have fun. And we've got, since it's county level, this is the balloon fair that's going out to hundreds of thousands of people, or how many are subscribed to it. We got a balloon affair blurb in there in the Ohio Magazine. And our visitors bureau here, we are purchasing a hot air balloon ride ticket. And it's $350. They're going to have a drawing at Brimfest. And then whoever gets it, gets to go for a ride. That's neat. County government can do that. Then we had 75,000 flyers or folders printed. And the board belongs to Adventures in Northeast Ohio, which is the state association. And in here, they have 2 pages, it's all Portage County, and we're included in with this. People in this Ohio Magazine got this to go ahead and put, what they call that, heads in beds. And in this publication, then we had 57,000 flyers done. They reported this. This is in the long weekends, when vacation, says long weekends, Great Lakes, Ohio River Valley edition. And it's a bonus magazine from the Ohio Magazine. But down here in the corner, you'll see Portage County. So I want you to know you're getting good advertising, and that's what some of the money that we give them to operate is doing to bring people in here. That was fun. I'm going to go see some of these places.
All right.
And since it is county, everybody gets a little piece of the pie.
Well, thank you so much for that, Sue. Any other questions, comments under administration? All right. Hearing none, we'll move into zoning and economic development. Mike, the floor is yours, sir.
Appreciate it. We have come to an agreement on 1435 Talmadge prior to our hearing date. Mark is preparing the agreement and he'll send it out to the trustees. The house will be painted, and then the violation will be adequately addressed from building and fire. So there's a couple of issues that were still out prior to occupancy, but they have agreed to painting as well, which is good. The house is up for sale. If it does sell, we're going to give the new owner 90 days or 120 days, depending on how they write it up, to finish painting or siding. So you'll see that soon. All these started erecting steel this week. I think that's going to be a quick build. I'm hoping to see that open this fall. And then Valvoline started grading and the site work as well down there. So we're going to see more activity in the near future. We have some restaurants and everything else interested. So
Is Jiffy Lube open?
Jiffy Lube is not open yet. The occupancy was not granted yet from building.
I think I do like a grand opening of that event too for Jiffy Lube.
I would assume, yeah. Nobody's reached out and said anything, but I assume they do it.
I just want to make sure they keep us in the loop instead of Talmadge, because
Correct.
that kind of gets confused down there. All right.
This is a pet peeve of mine, though. I drove by it the other day, the storage units they're building behind where the old Holiday Inn was.
Yes,
Is there any way you can have them change the name? Kent Storage Buildings?
I have not seen it yet.
Yeah,
I've
they've
not
got a
seen it.
sign coming soon, Kent Storage Units. That's the,
But that could be their company name though too, so we have to look at that.
it could be, but if it's, I just didn't want it to be like the Kent Heritage
Right.
Nursing Home up there when it should be
Right,
Brimfield.
right.
So,
That's gonna be called Tamarack too, so.
okay.
It's not Heritage of Brimfield anymore, Heritage of County, or anything like that. It's gonna be called Tamarack.
Okay. Well, can you check on that one? And if that's not their official name, can you kind of suggest that maybe they
Sure.
change it?
Mhm.
Thanks.
I took a drive yesterday. I just happened to be going out of Talmadge, coming back. Is there an update on the signs coming from Talmadge? I see they got the main block work
The
done.
block is up, they're waiting on the stonework with Jared.
Okay,
So
so
Jared does the stonework and then GDI does the sign after he's done with the stonework.
do they have any timeline on when Jared's?
I
gonna
have
be
not
out?
talked to Jared.
Okay.
I don't know, have you talked to Jared at all about it, Dave?
No, I haven't talked to Jared. I actually talked to Craig a little bit yesterday about it. He says they're working on steel framing for the signs and stuff, so it won't be too much longer. He
Okay.
says it's just gonna take a little time to get the framing made up. So, but I haven't talked to timeframe of Jared's part of it, so.
Okay. And then is there any update on the lights for the north and south signs?
I have told them, so they have an agreement to do it, they're gonna do it. They have not given me a date or time to do it.
Okay. Can you, just for the next meeting, then get an updated? just
Yeah.
Hey, I need,
Yeah.
just use us as a barrier and say, hey, we're getting pushed by us.
He, actually, again, I just talked to Craig, he showed me the lights he's getting.
Okay.
They're looking at if it's how they can hook them up to the signs, because with them being solar, the panel's gotta be a certain way, so they're actually trying to address if they can put the lights a certain way or not, that's not easy. I think he's still waiting for a set to come in where they can mess around with them and see how to hook them up.
He's also got to pour a little bit of a base to keep it out
Well,
of the
that's,
snow.
yeah, he was talking about that, or depending on the design of the solar the panels themselves on the lights, you might have to bring small brackets up to angle them right where the sunlight gets to the panels and stuff. So he's, like I said, he's waiting for a set to come in where he can start messing around with them to see what all angles he can put them at, so.
Okay. I just knew that was just because it's a project that's been sitting.
They look like nice lights, because he did show me how they work on different signs.
Yeah.
They are nice lights, you really like them.
I think we turned it over to them and had the survey done slightly. The biggest problem we had was getting the trees removed. There's trees in both locations that we had to take out. And then we had an issue down by Talmadge with the property owner that Dave and I met and addressed. And had to be careful not to go on his property or touch his trees. And
But it's all going good. They should be done here soon.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for zoning? No. All right, hearing none, we'll move to the road department then.
Alrighty, just on old business, just an FYI, I actually yesterday I was talking to Craig and graphic details, the signs for the Hunter's Ridge thing. The guy designed them for us and stuff, he's been on vacation, so I'll have answers to that the next meeting, cost wise, pictures of the designs again, that kind of stuff. Right now, we've been out crack sealing. We've done about 3 or 4 allotments. Right now, we're shut down for a few weeks. I needed the machine at a different place. So when we get the machine back, we'll start crack sealing again. We had 6 trees removed from my shop that were pretty much dead. I mean, it's the easiest way to say it. So we got that all cleaned up. We had a dead tree on the Arthur that was angling toward power lines and stuff. I had that removed. It was in the road right away, so we got rid of that. The soccer driveway's been put in. It looks real nice. I mean, it's nice. I'm gonna get a hold of Hank, have him put the gate up now. Cause he told me once I felt good, give him a call, we'll put the gate up.
Okay.
And then that way we don't have people just driving up there. I mean, I drove my truck up on it yesterday, never up the mark. So it's a nice setup. Hellman's did a really good job for us on that. The Butternut Ridge paving project, just to let you know, the county did accept Cardinal's bid, but right now I'm still working on the paperwork side of it to get Cardinal to sign their bid book. And then I gotta get it to the prosecutors and I'll bring that back to the trustees to sign off on it.
Okay.
And everything went good on that part of it. And plus I want to thank everybody again for bidding on the Cascade project. I mean, 4 bidders, I mean, we're doing pretty good bids this year. Everybody's been real low on numbers, so. Other than that, that's all I got for a report.
Just Dave, real quick, for the soccer fields, the shipping container, the welder. I know we talked on the phone, but just so everybody on the board is aware, we need to get a welder out there to cut a door into the shipping container. Because right now the teams are having to open the big doors and they're not the easiest things to work with. So I don't know if we can get somebody in the next 30 days out there to.
Well, I'm gonna start looking into that. I mean, once all this bid projects slow down for me,
Okay.
I'm gonna call around. I'm actually gonna call a couple construction guys, companies I know, to see who they use for like coming down the road with, because you gotta have a guy with a welder truck that can come on site.
Yeah, that's the hardest part.
So that's, we, just an FYI, we did get the soccer goals moved from Sunnybrook back over.
Okay.
And I will have to either, with Cassie, we're gonna have to order new nets for that size of goals. We have nets for the bigger goals, the 24 footers, but we don't have them for the 21 foot goals.
Okay.
So,
If you get them, they'll put them up when they line the fields. So wonder if we can get them ordered. Okay, get them put on there on field day. All right. Anything else for road department? All right. Hearing none, we'll move to Parks and Rec.
My first item is I got some quotes for the dog park fence. As you may know, the dog park fence is in disrepair. It's getting worse every year. It was a budget item for me this year, and I've included 2 quotes. You should have copies of them. So we got quotes from Hank Roberts, who did the soccer field fence, and his first quote was to just replace the existing fence with the same plastic coated chain link that we have at the soccer field, same color and everything. And that included, so that'd be an 80 by 210 foot fence with 1 double entry gate, 4 foot high fence. And the quote for that is $14,210. I had budgeted $15,000 for this project. And then we also had him give us a quote. Dave and I met with Hank and we're just kind of discussing the dog park, and Hank had a few ideas about expanding it a little bit and installing the divider back in. So originally there was a divider for small dogs and large dogs in the park to keep them separate. We took that out due to maintenance issues, but we would ideally like to put that back someday. And then he talked about increasing the size from 80 by 210 to 100 by 240. And then he would put in 2 8-foot double gates, 1 on either side. And the purpose of those is so that Dave can get his mowers and equipment in, so he doesn't have to use the smaller gates to do that. So that would be easier for him. The quote to do that would be $19,110. So that's a little bit over budget, but so yeah, that's what we're looking at now. And
So with that, Cassie, do we feel we need the bigger dog park? Is there a need for it? Are we seeing lots of people at the same time that we need separation of dogs? What's kind of the feedback on this?
yeah, so our thoughts on the bigger dog park is kind of, if you build it, they will come. We think that if we improve the dog park, we are going to get more people to come there. And then we will have bigger dogs and more conflicts between the smaller and larger dogs. I think at this moment, it's actually fairly busy down there. Every time I'm down there, somebody's there with a dog. So we think that building it bigger would be advantageous. And then if we wanted to add more equipment someday, we could do that. So, and there is definitely room to expand over there.
do you guys already have a problem mowing in there? You need the bigger gates.
well, yeah, because right now what we're taking over is an old Cub Cadet riding mower, barely fits through the 1 gate. We were, when she was actually looking at it before, we were talking about cutting a hole and putting a bigger gate in to get our bigger mowers.
But both quotes end up with an 8-foot double gate. It's just, if we divide it, we need 2 of them because we're on one on each side.
If you put a divider in for the smaller, larger, to separate the dogs, we need to come in 2 different areas to come in to mow that.
Okay. And is this still gonna have that double entry built into it? So when people are letting their dogs in and out, there's kind of that safety zone or not?
Yeah, it was gonna have, if we went with the divider, he was gonna put in a double entry where you can get into this one with your small one, this one with the tall. big.
Because a lot of times you see them, you know what I mean, where you go through one gate, you shut it, and then you open the next gate,
Yeah,
and
they-
go play.
So they'll
they don't run
yeah,
out.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does this include that double setup? Because I don't see it.
Yeah, it says divider. Did we include that in the set?
Yeah, because we discussed that with Hank about if we did the divider, we needed the double entry right there where you can walk in, shut the gate behind you, and then go this way or that way.
What does divider mean? They have
The
the second
containment
set of
area.
fence. Is that what that means?
Yeah, fence down.
Yeah, but what I'm looking for though too
Two
is,
entrances, like the jail.
Right,
You
but
get
no,
in,
that's,
you get in again.
right, that's
That's
what
how
it
we used
is.
to have
You
it.
come in one main door, one gate, then there'd be like a box there, you can go this way or.
so it'd be like this, right? Where when you enter,
Yeah, you could
you
either.
shut this gate and then you go here or here, and there would be a divider down the center like
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's in the 19,000. If we do the 14,000, that divider's not down the center, do we still have that box outline or not?
No, because we wouldn't need the box.
Yeah,
Because
there's
now
the
you
one
would just come in
entrance.
and they just go the whole.
So I just worry about other people's dogs though, like if I bring my dog and I open it, the other person's dog might sneak out, where if we have that double entry, it prevents that. And that's what you see at most dog parks.
Yeah, that's how we used to have it.
So then that's, I mean, either we need to add that in the $14,000 quote, or we expand it so that we have it and we go with the $19,000 quote. And it gives us more area to work with.
Yeah,
I'm good with either, but I would not want to put a dog park in without that containment.
yes,
Because then you have that chance of somebody else's dog getting out.
yeah. I can, yeah, I wasn't sure if we decided on that. I thought we did include it in the quote, but now that I'm reading it again, I don't know that we did. So I can,
I know we didn't include that in that was only if we put a divider in.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do, the double gates, because right now it's just a single one in and out.
So can you go back to Hank and have him redraw this quote up, and that language needs to be in there, at least for me to support it, to make sure that we're getting what we're asking.
sure.
Is there any possible way we can get more than just one quote?
Yeah, absolutely. Into my notes here.
So we want to table that now?
Yeah, I would table
Sure.
that for right now, John, just so A, we get multiple quotes, but B, I want to make sure that it's designed the right way. Even if they can give us a hand sketch of what it'll look like.
Yep.
That will help.
Yeah, no
Well,
problem.
but I definitely think just from Dave's perspective, we need to make it easier for you to get it out of there. with your
Right,
mom.
oh yeah, we'll have to put gates, if we put a divider in, we'll have to put gates on both sides if I get the bigger motors.
Yeah, and the bigger gate will just help you in the long run too, and I'm good with the project, but there's not enough information here to make a good decision.
So can you get it for the 29th?
Yep, yep.
Well, we got a bit of it now.
That's crazy news.
Dave's on top of it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, next
When
week
August-
is hope this morning.
When August gets here, I ain't gonna have nothing.
A reminder also that I did apply for the dog park grant again this year, and if we were to get that, that would be $5,000 towards this project, or whatever else we wanted to put in there. So that could potentially lower the cost of this.
Okay.
Christmas lights. I know it's July, but we're going to talk about Christmas because I had a reminder on my calendar to talk about it. So we are currently, I'm going to start taking inventory of what we have now, what's left from last year. I know some of the inflatables didn't survive. I know we have lights in various places. I think we have old decorations somewhere. So
Where is the central location for all of them now? Where could
cemetery
it be?
garage?
Yeah, it's, right now, all the lights are put in at the, oh shoot. I can't
The
think of it.
carriage house?
Carriage house.
Yeah.
Everything's stored in totes and everything in there.
Yeah.
For the
So if you
company
find
to do.
anything else laying in the outskirts, we need to get it all over there.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything else that's around the cemetery and stuff is no good. There's been mice through them from the years by up on the shelves, so.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of our good stuff is in that carriage house.
We put everything away in totes and things, didn't we,
Yes.
last year?
Mhm.
Okay, good. So
You're
hopefully
gonna
we should
take an
be.
inventory, what's good?
Yeah. I'm gonna check every single bulb.
John, I'd like to make a suggestion on the Christmas light thing, two pieces. First being, if we're gonna order some new decorations, I know we need more industrial type instead of just Lowe's stuff. We need to be making those purchases probably in the next 2 to 4 weeks.
That's why we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we can kind of get those inventory and then over to us, then John would look at the budget. I think that's the first hurdle.
Well, we had $5,000 in there, but there's a possibility I can switch some other stuff around that didn't occur that we thought was gonna occur. So I can make that a little bit bigger, but I want to make sure we're not doubling up on things we don't need.
Yeah, and that's fine, but I just want to make sure, because we ran into the problem, we were kind of buying stuff late last year, it was hard to find it. I think we need to be ordering now, because there's gonna be shipping delays and purchase delays and everything else,
Yeah.
so.
And now it's July, so we're off season, so we could probably get some better deals on things, hopefully.
I bet you the Christmas companies are probably already starting to order the big companies, so we're like in that prime piece, I think we have to be ordering now. Because any of the big designers are.
You
gonna order
guys are
stuff.
planning on that this week
Good
or
idea.
next week, right? Going through the whole shed?
I was probably gonna go today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you put them all on I don't know how difficult it is, but if you could put 40-foot, colored lights, we have 15 of them. Can you spreadsheet all those just so we have them on?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep, so then so then we'll determine what our budget is based on what we already have in stock and start shopping around for things that we
My
think we
other
need.
suggestion is, because I know this was a real pain, and thank you for your help last year.
Can we count on you again?
I'm alive, sure.
I was gonna suggest, how about a,
Tomorrow's promise to know.
I was gonna suggest a community light day like Ridgetown does. I think if we're gonna do that, though, we need to get it on the calendar now, so it's out there.
Because that was a huge undertaking for Bill and Craig last year. That was overwhelming. Yeah, so we don't want to stick somebody in.
So I think we do it on a Saturday. I've already talked to some community members. They're interested in being part of it too. So I think we could get a lot of community support. We just, we kind of coordinate where we want stuff to go and have everybody put them up. But I think we need to get it on there. And I think there's potential fundraising as part of that too. People will donate to that to help offset some of the costs for lights purchased next year. They do T-shirt sales as part of Ridgetown, which then they sell for $20, $10 goes toward lights next year. I think there's a lot of opportunities, but we need to get it on the calendar and start planning it now and ordering those sorts of items.
Can I just make a suggestion? Can we look into replacing the blow-ups and with a more sturdy?
That's the plan. Was we got the blow-ups because they were cheap, they were available, and the plan is to kind of phase them out over time. But obviously, we don't want to spend $50,000 this year on lights.
Right, I know.
We needed them as fillers.
Okay.
So I think we
So
might have to
we'll
use
replace
them
them
again.
as we can go. And, okay.
Yeah, as we buy stuff. So it might not all get replaced this year. Was my
So do I need
vision.
to go over there with a knife and poke holes in
As long as the fiscal officer give me more money for lights, then sure, you can poke as many holes as you want. So, but it's really about financing, right?
Right. Yeah, that's why we wanted to know
about.
what we had, so we
Yeah.
could estimate and be, just not throwing a number out there and buying a bunch of stuff that we have too much now, and then we check it all again next year and it's all rotted away. We don't want to get into that.
And, I think once we have an inventory, then we can draw a map and then we can figure out, that's the most effective way we did it last year. We kind of mapped it all out.
That works. Okay.
And I already did a little bit of shopping online, and not surprisingly, commercial Christmas decorations are very expensive, so I'm
But
gonna
we'll
try to
get
find.
10 years out of them compared to 2 to 3 years for this stuff.
Right, we just might have to be judicious in what pieces we choose. Pick one really cool one this year, a couple little ones, and then add on to it every year.
Okay. So we're gonna do that. We'll get together whenever you get the inventory, and then we'll kind of come back to the board and figure out what we want to buy next year.
Yes.
And come next meeting.
Yeah, and then at next meeting, can you also have a proposed date for Christmas light put up with a rain date?
Yep.
So we can get it on the calendars now because people start planning and the more we mark it out, the better off we are.
Okay. Next item, the trees at the community center. As you know, our trees around here are dying. And we were talking about this last year, and we got 2 companies to come out and look at the trees here. I have $20,000 budgeted for this project this year, and quite frankly, I don't know that that's going to do it. We had Koonsman come out yesterday and Apex Solutions. Yes. And they both looked around and kind of said, you're probably looking at double that if you want to take out all of the dead trees.
You're a naturalist, so is there any bugs that are killing these, and are there any grants out there that, because of that we can get?
So to determine that, I don't think it's bugs. We did have Davey come out last year and kind of look at the trees out here. And whatever it is affecting multiple species of trees. So it's probably not a disease. It could be, that could be part of the issue, but Soil and Water came out here for another reason, and we just happened to look at the trees, and they suggested that it's a water issue, which would make sense if it's affecting multiple species. They think that the construction here messed with the hydrology of the soils and kind of, the trees that like their feet more wet ended up getting too dry.
With the driveway.
Yes, and then some of the trees that were more dry, we have more water going over here, and it affected them. Not to say that disease isn't an issue. There's oak wilt is a disease that affects a lot of trees around here too. So it could be a number of factors. But
Could we do it in phases, just so we stay within that budget?
sure,
So
yeah.
that we can get, the primary,
Well, the ones that are on the house.
the major ones first?
The thing, like Cassie with this meeting with them, both companies pretty much were stating that, some of the good trees are gonna have to be removed at the same time as the dead trees, because they're soft wood, and once we move the wind blockers from them, they can snap off and come right down on here anyway. The good trees, so it's one of them, it's pretty much gonna be a circle around here, it's gotta come out. I mean, like they all said, a lot of the dead ones are gonna damage the good ones trying to get them out because they're all entwined. So it's pretty much just a one-phase operation, just
There's
come
no way to
in.
phase it.
I mean, now you can do in phases, I mean, you may come take out this back half for now, but the thing is, like I said, a lot of it will change. Once you take a section out, the winds and stuff will really dramatically take a chance of taking down some of these poplar trees and stuff that are softwood. They'll snap off because now they're getting blown up the wind instead of having the protection of the oak tree blocking the wind from them. So it's pretty much, Cassie was trying to I told him to give me just one big bang shot because,
Well, that would be cheaper than the
Well,
twice, right?
right, because the thing is, they're all gonna have to have cranes in here.
Okay.
So you bring a crane in so much a day, so if you say you're gonna do this amount, well, the crane guy might know he has a 3-day project where he gives them a break where, oh, we're gonna do a day here, it starts adding up the cost.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of like even a paving project. If I just do this street and skip that one, but next year I want to do that one, well, it just costs me more money for mobilization. So,
And I know we discussed there were some potential cost saving issues if they were to stockpile some of the wood or find, if they didn't have to lug all of it out of here, there was a way that we could maybe save some money that way. So,
what they were talking about is taking the crane, they take all the brush and everything away. But some of the bigger logs and stuff, they would have the crane just start stockpiling them out in the parking lot.
Okay.
Then, quote, we could remove them. Residents would contact me or Cassie and say they want a load of wood or something. We could cut our costs a lot that way by hauling wood out. One, I don't want to allow people to come here with chainsaws and start cutting wood because now we're a liability.
Right.
But to save quite a few dollars, we could have a stockpile. We could, quote unquote, have timetables here or there where I could haul a couple truckloads of wood out to people in the township instead of just wasting it all, paying down the Brimfield area and making mulch out of it. Because I know there's a lot of people in town that eat firewood, so we can do it that way.
Okay, well, give us a quote back and then we can see what we're working with.
yep. Update on the loop trail at Lions Park. I have on my report, the prep work is to begin today, but I got an email from Cardinal saying they got a little backed up, so it's actually going to start on Friday. But it's still on track to start this week, so that's good. And then the following week, so they're going to start the prep groundwork this week, and then next week they'll do the actual installation if everything's still on track. So that will be very exciting. I'm very excited for that project. Past programs, on the 5th, we had Children's Classic Story Time. And then on the 7th, we had our summer concert series with New City Jazz. They were really fantastic. I would definitely have them back again. And then upcoming programs, next week, Tuesday through Friday from 9 to 4 is summer camp. So Aaron and I will be out of the office pretty much the entire day, Tuesday through Friday. If you do need to get a hold of us, give me a call or a text and I'll get back to you when I can. But we will be out with the kids and we will be using the community center and the park. So the community center will also be unavailable from 9 to 4 during those days. So if you did need something, please try to schedule outside of those hours. Monday would be available as well, though. And then the 21st, we have our next concert, the Boomers, and the time for that's a little bit later. It's 7 to 9, and that one's sponsored by Hometown Bank.
Where's you gonna be?
Oh, Lions Park. Yep.
All right, any questions for Parks and Rec?
Very good report.
Yep, thanks. I'm gonna skip back over to Police Department, because
Sorry.
no, that's okay.
Don't have a whole lot of things today, just a snapshot of our calls for service. We're at 8,141 year to date, which is about 300 over where we would be this time last year, or we were this time last year. Nothing to report other than regular calls for service. The only thing I think that you may have discussed previously, but we're going to ask for board action is with some of the NOPEC funding, we were asked to look at some projects in the police department, and you guys all know that our heating and air conditioning has been an absolute joke since the day that building was built. We have spent a stupid amount of money replacing things and adding things to try and get the problem fixed. We are almost there. This solution that we presented to you is the best it's ever going to get. It's not going to be perfect because it was very poorly designed, but this will end up removing everything that was ever put in originally and done as close to as correctly as we can. I think that you guys partly know that the building was designed that multiple systems were fighting against each other. And then we ended up having one furnace that was there that never ran for a year. It still hasn't. 1 year, I never turned it on. In the winter, when we were negative 10 degrees, I never had to turn it on because the other furnace was cooling the whole building because there's no walls to block the air from moving. So this estimate will put 2 more or 3 more of those individual heating units in separate areas of the police department and get rid of the 2 furnaces we have right now, replace it with one 96% efficient furnace that is built for the kind of capacity that it's actually air is going through, replace the air conditioning unit 2 that's attached to them, and add an air purifier and replace our water heater. We threw the water heater in because of our water issues. If you've been in our police department, everything is coded. So we assume that our water heater is probably getting close to its end of life, that we would add a more energy efficient water heater too. So we are requesting for board approval to move forward with J&J Plumbing for a total cost of $39,328 for that complete HVAC overhaul. J&J Plumbing, just so you guys know, Safco, who we've been using for the past couple of years, merged with J&J Plumbing. They are now the same company.
Okay. All right. I'd like to make a motion to accept the work to be done by J&J Plumbing not to exceed $39,328.
Can we just make it 40? Just to.
Yeah, we can make it just 40, that's fine. And that's gonna come out of NOPEC funds. Is that
It
okay,
is,
John?
and we planned for all that, that's what we wanted to do.
Yes.
Okay, let's finish up, and I have some.
Okay.
Second.
Yeah, just one more, when can they start work on this, did you say?
It's going to be in the air because we're going to try and shoot for a day when it's cool. A couple of days of it being cool because we're going to have no heating and air conditioning for a couple of days.
Okay.
So it's kind of be played by ear based on their schedule and when we have a couple cool days.
Okay.
Going to get really sticky in there.
The NOPEC grant works a little differently, so I have to have them do all the work. Then you need to give me all the receipts. Then I need to submit it. It just takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, that's how we've done it for the other pieces. So we'll just do out of contingencies and then
I'll reimburse you.
reimburse it when the NOPEC funds come
That
in.
works. Okay. Can you write up a purchase order to send over for
Yeah.
that, paying it out of contingencies?
Yes.
Then just write out the reimbursed through NOPEC, and then
Yeah.
Michelle will make sure after it's all done, then they can get paid time. And what I'm telling you, it takes a few weeks to get it
Yeah.
through NOPEC.
Well,
to
the
get money back.
two wall units we already have, like our lobby has its own unit and our booking area has its own unit because frankly, the lobby, you could hang meat in the winter. It was 40 degrees in the lobby. Christy could tell you, she comes in there enough. And then our booking room, we were barely passing state inspection because we could not keep it warm enough or cool enough to actually have detainees in there. So we have a unit in there too. So we're adding more of those. But when we did those, we did with NOPEC funds, and we did the same thing. We just paid it out of general or our police levy funds, and then
Okay, and then reimbursed. Was the same way. Okay. It just takes a few weeks. I didn't want that to be
Yes.
stuck with not getting paid right away.
And the only thing I ever I have is I don't need board action on it, but the chief wanted to bring it up.
Well, let's,
Well,
hold on.
let me get a roll call on this
Yep.
first one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
All
all,
those,
roll call.
all those in favor, Sue,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
motion passed.
Okay.
Right, sorry,
That's
jumped
okay.
the gun. No board action on this, but when we're looking at some of the ARPA funds, our back parking lot is falling apart. It was another thing that was done when the building was built and was not done correctly. Or, well, I don't think correctly, we've had to have Dave come out and replace something. His guys did a huge fix for us for drainage. So our garage stopped flooding. So Dave fixed that issue, but we also have a lot of areas that are falling apart and collapsing. And I think that you guys have pictures all in the Dropbox. The roadway going into the cemetery is falling apart. And if we have some funding from ARPA, we would love to be able to fix our parking lot before it starts to crumble. Because you can see in certain spots, especially around that drain, it's falling apart already.
I'll just add to his, weren't you gonna do a project this year to do the rest of the cemetery? Patching and chip
We
and seal or?
were gonna, well, no, we were just gonna patch some spots with the dirt patch. I was going to, have, H. Lulite give me a quote on, for the grant, Shellsworth looking at. So I was gonna see what it was gonna cost to chip and seal the cemetery.
Well, could we coordinate those two together, do the
I
whole
think
thing
we
at
could,
the
if we
same
can get a
time?
grant and tie ARPA funds. My one question though is looking at the documentation from Roy is, Dave, can we get, I don't think it's soil and water, it's probably gonna be engineers or stormwater out there. One of them's plugged up. It says the water sewer is just full of mud and muck. So I don't know if that's an issue from us or if there's a collapse somewhere in there too. I don't know if that's causing more problems.
I don't know which catch basin is it.
I
It's
don't.
probably not yours. It's probably the other one that's collapsing again. I mean, it collapsed the first time before we had lot redone when the building was built, and then they supposedly fixed it, and you can see that it's probably that one
I mean,
too.
where's that one at?
That one is, you come out the back door and walk straight down.
That's the one I always hope the snow plow.
Yes,
Okay. I know
it's because it sits so low.
that would be probably back on us.
That would be back on us.
Right, it wouldn't be, that, because it would be behind the building and stuff, it doesn't. We'd have to, it probably flows to the one we fix.
It does. We don't have any water buildup there, but it is, the asphalt's breaking apart
Can I,
there.
I mean, I can take a look at it. I mean, maybe the proper fix for this would be the same thing we did with your other one. Have them come in and pour a nice concrete pad around that vicinity. And then that way if you gather the water, concrete's less likely to chip up as asphalt around them.
Well, I've been here long enough to see that get fixed twice, or I'm sorry, collapsed twice. So it's the second time. So clearly whatever foundation underneath there is not working.
Well, that's what I mean. We might have to drop a new catch basin.
Yeah.
A concrete catch basin. Because I mean, by the grade on this, that's no concrete catch basin. It's probably just,
It's
looks
a,
like a, just
it's a
pipe.
hole with a pipe,
So,
with a metal grate sitting on top of it.
right, I mean, if I get a chance, I'll run down there if we get a chance today, just take a look. And then I I know this ain't what all you just want to fix. I mean, I see
Yeah, but there could be two phases.
Yeah, so if we're gonna do it, I wanna make sure we're doing it right. And
Well, if the board is okay with it, we would just go out to a company and see get a cost. Have someone look at it and what do they recommend taking it all out and putting new down? Because we're just sealing, something's broken.
The board's never against you bringing quotes. We may say
Okay.
no, depending on the price of it, right? But I would suggest coordinating with Rochelle and Dave, because it sounds like they might have some grant funding for cemetery, and that all kind of ties
Well,
together.
we're having
Okay.
issues with the concrete in the cemetery as well, so we have to do something with that.
So if we can tie an entire project together, sometimes it's cost savings.
At least part of it, because part of this, that is part of the cemetery's road.
Right.
Goes through there, like our lot and the road are the same for.
Well, why don't we just do that? Why don't we figure this paving project for the whole thing right there, just figure out what we're gonna do.
Okay. Dave, do you think that they're gonna have to mill it down and restart? Because it seems like.
Yeah, your parking lot's gonna have to be revamped by the cracks in it. You wouldn't be better off to go up, I mean, yeah, you'd be better off to have a couple people come look at it. Yeah, they'd probably, because you'd have full depth repairs by the cracks I'm looking at, like what we do on the roadways, this and that. I don't know how thick the asphalt is. I mean, they might not be able to mill it. It might be a complete destruction, just rip all the asphalt out and put asphalt down.
It almost seems like it's got, the grade is too steep in areas, and that's why it keeps cracking. It only can,
Well,
flex so
that was
much.
like by your building. It was a weird funnel job they tried to do to that catch basin.
Yeah, they tried to build up a little asphalt wall to stop the garage from flooding, and it just basically helped the garage flood more. It like gave it a clear route.
You might have to have somebody come in and grade the whole site. It's not gonna be a cheap thing, but to get it proper where you ain't gotta, because I hate to say it, your police station, you shouldn't have a problem with that for 25 years. Some crack sealing here and there,
Right.
but again, it's
That
not-
hasn't even lasted since that happened when the building was built.
What was and I know we talked about this a long time ago when the impound lot went out, but what are you gonna do with the impound lot back there? And is that something that should be considered when we're redoing all this?
Well, Dave and I have talked about this a few times. We talked about just taking some asphalt grindings, throw it down. He throws a little diesel fuel on there and it hardens it up. And then we make it we're already using it as a parking lot now because we're running out of room for employees' vehicles and police cars. So 3 or 4 employees park in there every day now. They just kind of park in the middle because the outside edges might have some glass from like crashed cars and such in them. So if it was all combined, yes, I would love to have that as a paved parking lot for employees, and that then police cars are the only thing parked behind the building. Because right now we have the spaces are so close together. All of our cars have door dings from opening and hitting each other because we're trying to fit so many cars in a very small space down there. So people are already parking in the former impound lot.
Why don't we look at all that at the same time?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt, and then we can decide if we have to phase it or if we can't do it.
Yeah,
It
we
never
can do
hurts to
it.
get numbers, right?
That's the most level area anywhere out there, actually, I think, is the impound lot.
And that's a pretty good spot. Take the walls down and if you pave the whole thing, just take the fence down and be done with it.
So can you coordinate with Rochelle?
Yes.
So that we can get a bid for the entire thing, that way
Yeah.
we can grant funding?
That would be nice.
Dave, I know you're
Yeah.
not doing anything right now, but
I
Chris, you and Dave and Michelle just kind of figure it out. Cool.
And that's all we have for the police department.
All right, perfect. Any questions for police? All right, thank you for your report. We'll move into cemetery. We had a deed to sign. Any other updates on cemetery?
Well, the grant thing, we're applying for a grant, so that, it has a deadline of the 31st of July, so we're gonna have it all turned in and we'll let you know how that all goes.
Okay. That moves us into fiscal. We have an American Rescue Plan funding. So John, you give me the motion here. I'll just read it in.
Okay.
I'd like to move to approve the submission to the Portage County Budget Commission for approval of the American Rescue Plan Act funding in the amount of $543,199.18 for Fund 2272 and waiting to appropriate.
Second.
Just so everybody aware, this is our second draw of ARPA funds. So we had one that came last year. This is the second one we were waiting for. So John, it's here now.
Yep.
All right. So, and this is more than our first one too.
At like $6,000.
This is funds that we cannot use for payroll. It's federal funds, so there's restrictions of what we can use it for, and there's a deadline to use the funds by. Failure to use the funds means we have to turn it back over to the county, and then the county gets to use it. So obviously, that's why we're trying to find projects like this to make sure the county doesn't get the money back. 543,199.18. So it's a little over $1 million, almost 1.1 million that we got in total. And ARPA funds.
All right, all those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed, thank you.
All right. Anything else from fiscal?
No.
All right. We have no executive sessions today. We'll now open it up to the group of Brimfield Township. The floor is open to the public for questions, comments, or concerns.
I have a question and a comment.
Yeah.
The fire department, they were talking about, because of not being able to work over the winter, is there damages if they extend beyond their contract time?
There
Is
is.
that why they're asking for it?
Correct. So they,
Shouldn't that be a no-cost extension?
so, and that's what we're working through with them. What they do is they send a bulk, I think it was like almost $150,000, $175,000 in, hey, we're gonna have our trailer on site more. There's admin costs they carry over. They will get so many days because of the federal funding if they can show the weather conditions were there. But anything beyond that, then there's damages that they have to pay on the back end, and that's why they're asking for those dates.
And the amount they suggested that they should be due is being fought right now because they don't have all the paperwork.
Because they didn't even submit, they just said, hey, this is the days we didn't work, we want paid. We said, well, that's great, but you have to submit documentation and supporting evidence that the weather was bad according to National Weather Service. You know how it goes, all that documents. So that's what we're waiting on.
Okay. And registered VRBOs and B&Bs within the township, because there is some, do we collect bed tax on those?
No, we do not. Hotel tax.
Should, huh?
I guess I didn't even think about that until you brought it up. See, that's a pretty good thing to bring up to your visitor bureau.
So, yeah, I think we have to look at the legal language of the difference between a bed and breakfast in the hotel, but yeah.
But I mean, how many do we even know of?
I know 3.
Do you?
I mean, it's not a lot. And then I have one for Cassie's concern over the dog park is that needs a barrier. Small dogs, big dogs, because you're just asking for some big dog to eat a small dog.
They don't want that.
No.
Well, that second proposal would.
Yeah, and I'm good with it. I want to make sure that we have that entrance game so that
I
nobody gets
understand,
out.
I just wanted to voice my opinion.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
That's
it.
good. Thank you.
One in your neighborhood, isn't there?
Yes,
Yeah, we had to go to that one.
For parties.
yes.
VBROs are hard to track down. I don't know how they're registered.
Well,
They don't
just look-
register with us.
Just look online
Right.
and then send the owner who says,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to include bed tax.
Is that against your homeowners?
No,
That's amazing because you tell me what flags they can't put up, but you can run a rental house.
I say it's in our HOA that we can't rent out.
well, I mean, we can rent houses, an owner can rent a house out. But yeah, there was some question as to whether we could have set up as because it's a business. As soon as you advertise it, it's actually a business. And we don't have that exact verbiage in it. So it would be a legal battle if we wanted to pursue it. So we're just going to defer to the police department if it gets too rowdy and have them take over. And we can add your calls.
We've already been there.
Chick, did you have a statement?
I got 2 easy ones, I hope. One for Mike. The development behind the school there in that piece of property. What's happening there? Do you know anything?
Yeah, so they came to the Board of Zoning Appeals. There's rental apartment homes going in there. I think there's 103 units. They look like homes. They look like redwood, you know, it's not 2 or 3 story. They look like homes.
When is it gonna start?
So they didn't pull their zoning certificate. They were approved by the BZA, but they didn't pull their zoning, so I
You
couldn't
don't
answer
really
that
know
until
yet.
they, yeah, because sometimes people get approved and then they never go forward.
See, I don't know, I ride a scooter now, a lot, like too much, and people ask me these questions.
Yeah, I'll have.
If I'll ask you guys, they're trying to call you, I don't know why.
I'd have a better answer once they actually pull their zoning certificate.
So that hasn't been pulled yet, so we don't know what's going on. The other one I have, and John knows about this, that truck running up and down the road with no muffler on it. You guys take care of that for us.
The semi?
Yeah.
So,
They can't, they're not supposed to operate without a muffler.
Well, he has them.
Huh?
You're talking about the semi, the red semi?
Yeah.
Don't, he has it, he just has his pipes turned out there, and,
we stopped though,
we
the
have,
last week or
well,
so, week and a half.
the state patrol's commercial carrier unit might have had a talk with him.
They did.
Okay,
We-
because I'm getting, the people that live out towards the 18 are hollering about
And,
that.
We talked to him, I stopped him personally once, another officer stopped him, I believe we've only stopped him twice. And he says there's no Jake breaks, there's no rules for Jake break, so I'm on a Jake break. Well, the state patrol, who we may or may not have asked for a little bit of assistance, stopped him, and he said, you're not loaded coming down 18. So why are you Jake breaking coming down 8, or you're not loaded coming down 43, so you don't need a Jake break. I mean, I understand the guy's complaint. He says, I got to save my brakes. All right, I can't afford to buy brakes over and over. But you literally were shaking things off the fiscal
I
office
got
wall.
pictures falling off my wall at my office. It's the whole wall.
So I said, hey, if we want to do it, I think the township can petition the state to put a no Jake break zone on 43 and 18, and we just avoid it altogether.
Not even a Jake break, isn't there a noise ordinance that can, through the
Well-
Ohio Revised Code in regards to certain decibels that they can put out there?
Well, we don't have a meter for loud exhaust. I mean, we would technically be trying to cite under loud exhaust, and then without a meter, it's your discretion. It's very subjective.
Well, he stopped. I don't know if they said they're gonna do an inspection on his truck every day they see him. I don't know, but
He
all of a
did
sudden
stop. He has stopped doing it, but he also stopped for a while after I talked with him the first time and asked him, but then it started up again. You're gonna know when it starts up again because
Was he starts at Pizza Hut into the light. I'm like, come on. That's,
I mean, the guy's nice. I talked to him. He made his point, but I'm working two sides. The residents are tired of hearing it 10 times a day,
Yeah.
easily. I mean, Craig, you know, it's right past your building, and then you know.
easily 10
Well,
minutes a day.
if we can just petition the state, why are we not just petitioning the state to make another drink?
Well, did Officer Putnam get you some
He
information?
did. It was an Ohio Revised Code statement that he gave me. So
It's what the state patrol said that we should pursue. We have to petition. We're gonna figure out the process and get it to you guys. I think that as a township, you'll have to ask the state, and then they make it a no Jake break zone.
So yeah,
Then we
because I
can-
think we can argue it because it's now our town center district and there shouldn't be Jake breaks.
Yes. And we could enforce it with citations, but right now
if you had big jacked up pickup trucks blowing their diesel exhaust and going really loud, could you pull them over for that?
yes, but that's way more easier for me to argue in court rather than a loud semi-trailer.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's very, very subjective. I mean, I could bring you as a witness saying how my pictures fall off the wall every time you drive down the road. But without actually having, I don't know, there might be an ORC that says how many decibels, but
But you have to capture the decibels while he's driving, and the
Yes.
further you are from it, the lower the decibels come on the
I had
meter.
to sit out there in a lawn chair every day and record it.
We could just put one on the outside of the fiscal office. It'll hit him every time he goes by.
I understand his reasoning. I think the state patrol asked him to go a different route to the sand and gravel pit that he was going to, but it was 0.2 of a mile longer.
He gets off
But
the
it
expressway.
actually was quicker if you could. And I guess the trooper actually said, if you're staying on the expressway, you're maintaining speed for a longer time, so it'll
Yeah.
probably save you money.
Just get off at 44 and go around that way instead of coming.
That's what he
down.
was trying to get him to do,
Yeah.
because you stay on 76 longer, you're not braking and accelerating, so you're probably going to get better fuel mileage than driving down 43 and then back up 18. But I don't know. So you guys, you got your firemen, anybody that I ever talked to in Sterling Green. Hey, what's that truck? We know about it.
Okay.
Mike, I wanted to ask you, do you recall for these units going back in behind Sterling Green there, do you recall offhand how much those individual apartments or individual condos, how much they're going to be renting for?
Yeah, they're gonna be at $1,680 a month.
1,600 a month?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's not cheap.
There was one other question on that, Mike. I don't know if she called you. She asked me, because it's going to have two entrances to it, one being by the baseball fields and the other one kicking out Council Drive there. They said that there was some concern before about that much traffic dumping onto 43 and it couldn't be done. They wanted to know why it can be done now. Has there been,
You mean the traffic study?
yeah, has there been a traffic study? Because she just said, hey, I thought we couldn't do it, we couldn't discharge traffic out to 43 before, because from the previous,
I don't know what that's based off of, but
because from whatever that they were trying to put the back there before, they were trying to put something in, they said, no, the traffic was too much traffic impact on 43.
yeah, I have not seen that. I mean, 43 is built to handle that traffic.
Okay.
So I'm not so sure where that's coming from.
Would they come out of Beal? Is that where
They can come out either way. And there's 103 units, which isn't, if you do a traffic study, like we did a traffic study for Walton Point, and it was a similar concern back in there. So they did a full study in there, and it was minuscule. At 100 units, it's not going to affect traffic.
Well, how does
It
that,
actually kicks out the Kelso, so there's two,
I thought it was Beal that it came around behind Vans, right? Is
Yes.
that where it would pop out?
It's not no, it's by the apartments behind the school.
Town Square
Town
Drive.
Square, that's what it is. Town Square
Oh.
Drive has two entrances.
Okay, so next to
that
Wendy's,
stop.
we're gonna be hitting out.
Yeah, it's gonna connect those two Town Square drives together.
There'll be
Town
nothing
Square Drive
coming
only has
out
one
through
way.
Chapman.
Well, there's Town Square Drive with the cul-de-sac, and then
They
it
can
comes
come
back
out
out,
Kelso.
goes around the school.
They
by
can
the
come out
apartments,
Kelso on
and then
18.
jump out
and they can come
You know how you come down Kelso
Behind
to the soccer field?
Yes.
And you turn left back there and there's soccer fields? You go
Yeah,
back
they
there,
can
cul
come
de
out through Chapman.
Yes.
No,
That's where
they
all the
would-
houses
how
are
they
in
get
cul-de-sac.
Well, they'd have to
And that
turn
would
left.
continue through the woods,
on
right?
Kelso
And all
Drive,
development,
and drive up
and
to
kick
the
out
big
across
box.
town center on the other side.
Okay, so on Town Square Drive, where it's straight before it wraps around and goes actually into the apartments, is it gonna go behind those apartments?
There's gonna be two entrances, one on the cul-de-sac and then one behind that goes around and wraps into the dedicated.
Is that where the flashing light is?
There's no light there. There's a stop sign on.
Flashing light's in front of the school and McDonald's.
Yeah.
There. So that wouldn't affect any.
So yeah, it's just gonna connect all that
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, there
Can't
is,
see because your cup.
so this went in front of the Board of
So you see
Zoning
there's the
Appeals, and
road.
they have
Yeah,
the
there's that.
jurisdiction to ask for traffic studies or further studies, and there's no concern with this.
So they just asked, I just wanted to get clarification,
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Coming out on Town Square Drive is not gonna be fun for people. I'll tell you that.
That's what I was wondering.
If somebody lets you out, you got one car before the light, 2 cars maybe.
And you're never making a left out of there.
You're never making a left out of there. People try,
Right.
and we end
Well-
up coming to visit them after they try.
I can tell you that the area is zoned, I believe, for 255 units, and they're only utilizing 103. I think if you were to push 200, they would ask for a traffic study.
I was just curious on how they're gonna get out. I was thinking the same thing. They're not gonna be able to get out on the 43.
If they need to go south, they gotta go all down Pembroke, go out to 18. That'd be the only way to go south.
Or they could come out next to Pizza Hut if they were.
Or Kelso, but even there, it's hard, depending on what time of day, it's hard to make a left hand
Oh,
at
yeah.
Kelso.
Yep. Did you have something else, Jim? No.
Dave asked me about the acreage in the cemetery, what did you come up with the other day?
It's 11.31 acres.
Yeah, that probably is good. That's the old section, it doesn't include the new section we bought.
That includes everything we have on.
Doesn't,
Well, that doesn't include the new, I was gonna ask you this today, Mike. Was Mike Wolin out there yesterday or today? And when is his guy that was gonna come out and tell us how much acreage that was?
So he's coordinating with Mark right now.
Okay.
And then we're gonna sit down, you're gonna pick out, you and Sue are gonna pick out the best.
Where we
location.
wanna take it from there.
Correct.
Because in this grant that we're doing, if we could include that, if that was part of our potential expansion of the cemetery, we could include that in the
Yeah.
grant too, but we needed to know how big it was.
Right, I think some of that would have to be discussed in executive session with you.
I didn't think that the new section was included in that, could be, I don't know.
The new, that's already got locked next to the police department, is that what you're meaning, the new? Yeah, that's in the 11 point.
Is it in the other?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think you will have I think Mark is planning on coming to a meeting and discussing once we narrow down.
I was just curious how we were gonna find out how big that section was in the back, because it
Right.
did come up on that grant request, that if we had anything additional, that's something that we could have put out there, but
Right.
we didn't know.
I think that's an easy one, expansion of the.
Well, that's what I thought I thought Wolin was coming out and the other guy was coming out. I thought they were coming out this week. That's what.
Mike would be out, yeah.
Okay. He doesn't do that though, or he can figure out how big it is?
Yeah, I mean, we can
Acre
figure out,
wise?
yeah, exactly. We could give you a preliminary cost estimate, and even if we need to.
Well, I don't even need the cost estimate, I just wanna know how big that section is back there, acreage wise. Is it five?
Going from all the way from 18 to the
shed.
back corner to the shed is probably 5 acres.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
All right, anything else?
Sorry, but all the problem caused.
No, good. That's why we have these meetings. Wish more people would call instead of just complaining on Facebook.
Yeah.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So
I will second.
All right, all those in favor, Nick,
Yes.
Sue,
yes.
we are adjourned at 9:15 a.m.